Great. So we're actually going to have Mike say a few words to get us started.
Hey everyone, welcome to this session. We're going to be basically talking about everything related to onboarding new members, keeping track of them, and getting them engaged in your brigade. So to start out, one of the taglines for the session was about how we can get our members involved with what we called shovel-ready tasks or shovel-ready actions. And that kind of was part of a discussion I had just the other week with some of our core team members here in Buffalo. And we talked about how this one particular neighborhood nonprofit organizes a lot of volunteers all throughout the year to do like neighborhood tree plantings. And we thought, like, you know, it's they're very successful with that, particularly I think because volunteers can show up, be given a shovel and some tools, and then boom, they can go out and make a direct impact. And so we were thinking, how might we identify those same types of actions and tasks that can be quick and easy for new members to get engaged, and then kind of introduce them slowly to becoming more and more involved in the brigade. So with this session, Diana has set up the Fun Retro link. It's kind of like a Trello board, and if you haven't used Trello, it's seems pretty user-friendly in terms of adding new like notes and stuff to these different columns. But we'll keep posting that in the chat as well. But we really just want to start first with an exercise, just thinking about how we can address some of these needs. And so, you know, don't be worried about you know, critiquing your idea or anything. Just put on your creative hats, and we'll spend some time doing just kind of a quick just brainstorm with the group. And Diana and Annie, I don't know if you want to talk briefly about the other two questions as well, or if we want to do those in sections.
Yeah, I think we'll get to those. I just want to confirm that everyone has opened the link and sees the Fun Retro board and is able to use that first column to add an ice cream flavor. And does anyone have any questions about doing this? I wanted to make sure to address that before we move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Thumbs ups. Okay, so I'm going to put some time on. We'll go through, and how it'll work is that we'll put like 5 minutes on the clock, and then you will kind of enter your ideas in that first column. Each idea comes in as a separate card. So, and then we'll do this again for the next 5 minutes each. And then we'll go through and read through all the ideas, and then we'll be able to vote on the ones that seem interesting to discuss. So we'll give everyone like 3 votes per question. Does that make sense? I see a couple other ice cream flavors coming in. Any other questions we can address?
How do we get project managers? I'm half joking and I'm half serious because, oh my God. All
right. So looking at that first one that Mike set up really nicely, that how might we help project leads make the work shovel ready? So I see some are already putting stuff in, which is totally fine. I'm going to go ahead and hide the cards so we can just focus on entering our own ideas for this time. And I'll go ahead and put some time on the clock. And please don't start voting yet. I'm going to disable the voting as well for right now. So that'll be 5 minutes. And let's get started.
Does anyone else have it blurred out?
Is anyone else's panel blurred? Mine is.
Yes. So it should be, everyone else's answer that comes in should be blurred. So you should only be able to see the ones that you add for right now. And then we're going to go through and read everyone's.
Yes, but I think it disabled my ability to add, but let me try it again. Nope, I'm good. Thank you, Diana.
Yes, Tim, we're starting with the red column. And thanks for screen sharing, Annie.
Yeah, no problem. A little less disorienting for people who just joined.
Keep seeing a lot of purple things. Are we?
So we're just focused on the pink right now, unless you've completely finished with your ideas for that, in which case it's okay to move to the other ones, but try to stay on the pink just for another 1.5 minutes or so.
Just wanted a shout out to remember non-coder volunteers. I see a lot of, not I see, I'm sorry, we can see Andy's screen, so I apologize. But I think it's, can be easier to engage non-coders. Sorry. Oh, okay.
You're fine, you're fine.
Is everyone wrapping up with the first column? Okay, let's go ahead and move then. I still see a couple others. Mostly wrapped up. All right, let's move to the purple. I'll go ahead and put some time on the clock. And let's start.
Diana, Kelly, will this board be posted to Discourse after the session or in the next few days?
Yep, that's the plan.
Great, thank you.
Hey Diana, how much more time do we have on the purple column?
A little under a minute. Are people mostly wrapping up? You can also see the little countdown timer in the top right of the screen. It's a little green highlighted.
Oh, very nice. Thank you.
Okay, everyone should be wrapping up on the purple column. And we'll go ahead and move to the next one, which is how might we help Brigade leaders build and sustain engagement with their members. All right, starting the timer. And we're off.
And Diana, will we also be merging similar cards that kind of like say the same thing to consolidate those votes then?
Yes, exactly. As soon as we wrap this up, I'll go ahead and open it up and we can start consolidating.
This is a really cool tool. This is the first time I'm seeing this, so this is fun.
We might have our merging work cut out for us though, with like 50 things in each column.
Is anyone still working on the blue column? I want to make sure I'm giving the time that people need.
Yes.
And actually, if we'd like, I don't know if is there a way to reveal at least the red column and we can start merging those?
Yes. I can't selectively reveal, but I'll just go ahead and reveal it all at this point. That's fine. So everyone should be wrapping up next 30 seconds, their blue column. So continue to add in that if you have other ideas. Okay, so if everyone's pretty much wrapped up, we can go back to the first one and go ahead and give a read through, and we'll start. Everyone will have some votes. I'll go ahead and enable voting. So you can put in your 3 votes in the first column. And I'll start the timer for that. Do you think 3 minutes is enough to be able to read through all the answers? Let me know if anyone needs more time.
Are we going to combine first?
Usually we combine as we go. I think we've already started combining a couple of them.
And actually, we might want to give a few more votes for each of the columns.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of seeing. Do we think maybe 5 is a good amount?
The rule that I've seen is the number of items divided by 3. So that would indicate close to like 20 votes, but probably that's just my ballpark. But
or is that per
total?
column?
Oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah, no, that would be total, I guess. So I don't know. We wanted to go column by column. What is that? 7.
Okay. So we can go with that. 21 total. Okay. All right, if people are finished with voting in the first column, you can go ahead and move on to the second column. I'll put a couple minutes on the clock for that.
Have we done votes for the third column, the blue column yet?
So we're just wrapping up the purple, and then I'll go ahead and put some time on for blue. Give it like 2 minutes. It's a bit shorter than the first one. All right, and looking at blue column.
I think some people are having troubles voting in the blue column. You could try a refresh.
So you may have reached your vote limit. So that might be happening for some people. If you've already voted more than 21 times, then it will max out. Are people still voting on the blue column? Should I give 1 more minute, or are we wrapping up? I'll give 1 more minute.
And Diane, is there a way to, once the time is up, sort by the votes?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
So you'll actually see in the top left corner, right next to the Fun Retro in the little search, there's a sort dropdown. So you can go to sort by votes.
I'm not seeing where is it again?
Let me make sure, are people mostly wrapped up, and then we'll move to sorting.
Yeah, I think we can go ahead and start looking at some of the top votes for the red column.
Okay, so is it, who's driving now? Is this Annie's screen?
Yes, it is. Let me stop
So
sharing.
if you would just show, oh, I was going to say, if you could just show where the sort is on the top left, where it says next to the Fun Retro, it says sort, and go to votes. So that's what I just did on my screen. And now you should be seeing the top voted ones in each column. Is everyone on that view? Cool. So did we want to move to the volunteer management, or do we want to do the discussion first while it's
I
fresh?
would probably do the discussion while it's fresh.
Okay.
And making some time as well for Annie to talk about the volunteer management demo. So I guess if we want to start with the first red column, so the top card here is about matching like project skill sets with volunteer skills. And it seems like there might be some desire to kind of like have the project in mind first and then specifically kind of go out and recruit new members to fill those needs. Then we have office hours. Does someone who like posted that want to talk a little bit more about it? And then also for any of the first cards as well.
I'll talk a little bit about the virtual co-working. So we started a working session the week of 4th of July weekend for everyone to work together, because we're working on a project that should not be as complex as it is, but we've noticed that we get a lot of complex questions that we need to answer. So that working session accomplished two things. One, it gave us a forum to work together and be supported in trying to navigate our way through the questions. And then two, community in doing that. And it also helped to jump in the new members. They felt a lot more confident and supported in that engagement.
Nice. That's a really cool idea with those kinds of sessions.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting too. I shared it with one other team that's helping us now. It's a United Way team, and it's working for them too, so it works.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So then let's see. So next one is about using some kind of like off-the-shelf technology and components, and using widely known programming languages. And then also about the next one being GitHub issues. Does anyone want to talk about why they added some of those cards? Or how they've used those effectively, maybe, such as in the case of like GitHub issues?
Yeah, so I added the topics about GitHub issue templates and pull request templates. We have not yet implemented that at Code for San Jose, but that's something that's on my to-do list, just because I think it helps the GitHub process be less scary for people that are not as familiar with GitHub.
And I'll piggyback off that. This is Diana Tulsa. We've been, just last weekend, we've got a Free Code Camp Oklahoma group that meets. And with it being Hacktoberfest, we went through and did lightning talks on how to do pull requests and to approve those and all that kind of thing. And then how to go look for tasks that are listed as beginner friendly and various things like that to bring some of them on board with helping with Code for Tulsa projects.
And I want to piggyback on that too. We created, one of our teams wanted to know like, well, what were the issues that they should set up when they first got started? So we created a spreadsheet of initial issues for projects. And we went from it takes 2 months to get a project launched to it can get launched in a week. And all we do at this point is just point people to the spreadsheet and say, read those issues, make similar issues. But it gives people, product managers who are just getting a project started up, like really clear directions on what they need to be looking for and doing and recruiting and all that.
I had something I want to add. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, so we, in terms of the project deck, when we work and sort of when we take turns working on it, we do have an internal deck that we can only see, but it's not outward facing in many ways. And so one of the things we discovered was when we have new members or folks who've been working, but maybe they have taken a few weeks off or something, it's really hard to track on what's happening with the project. I just actually dropped I'm dropping the link right there for Code for Atlanta project issues. And so we've listed all our current projects on there. And recently we revamped our website, and we actually have a featured section on our website where we actually link back to the projects that are current for our group. And we found this to be very helpful. Some of these are not quite filled out yet, but this is something we've started doing and we find pretty helpful. One of the things that we have to, next steps are for project leads to actually take an active role in filling out that information versus us trying to keep track of what's happening, which we may not be able to for all the projects if we're not either involved in them or keeping an oversight.
Yeah, I think that that raises another good question that looks like it's also like apparent in a lot of the other cards in kind of asking like, how do we make it, how do we help those project leads basically do that kind of like project management? Like, is that something that we just need like some workshops on, like, here's how generally how you run a project, like introducing them to the Brigade project canvas. I don't know, does anyone have like thoughts on what makes that useful?
I would say from our experience, I'm sorry, I'm just jumping in. I do believe that's a big component. I would say the major component of running a project. I mean, it is a project. It has a clear, hopefully a clear beginning and end, and small iterative process, you know, in terms of steps, you know, step by step on what's happening in the project. And there are multiple things here. One would be that a project lead doesn't necessarily come with an idea of a clear outline of what they're also exploring when they come to our hack nights. They're trying to figure out, this is a great idea. I want to, or I'm passionate about this idea. How should I go about it? Sometimes our project leads are not necessarily developers. They're looking for developers, and there are many different parts of it. You need designers, you need UX UI. And so I think that there are times when we've actually pushed some of the projects to Trello. But there definitely requires some upkeep. Somebody needs to update it, you know, even with the small iterative steps, you need folks updating that. So I think one of the things that could possibly come out of this, I know we had this theory of change yesterday evening, is to actually have some kind of a playbook, a common playbook for project design. What are the different steps? How can we sort of put all those, or kind of have those clearly defined, or some kind of a sort of a structure in place, and then, organically or not, there is some kind of progression with the project, and it's easier for us to track, easier for project leads to see, where they need help, or what kind of outcome they're expecting, if not, whether they need to pivot. And also for new members or anyone wanting to work on it, either if it's consistently or on and off, there's just a way to join into the project at whatever point that they want to, and there's information there for them to start or get hands-on from the point of where they want to do. So I think that might be lacking, maybe some kind of a project template or a playbook or something. Sorry, I don't want to talk too much and sort of, but I think that would be that sort of my input from Code for Atlanta perspective.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a really valuable contribution. I think I remember last Brigade Congress, there was a session about creating, and I think it was, and Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, I think there were like 3 different potential canvases, one being like for a project overall, and then I forget exactly the other 2.
There's like a tech project for like most projects are probably tech projects, but then we also came up with some that are like around discovery and I think there was like a user testing or like almost like a UX research project as well.
Nice. Do we know where those links might be so we can make it accessible to folks?
Heck yeah. They're on the discourse, and I will post them here.
Oh, perfect. All right, so let's.
We also came up with another one, like a priority action area canvas as well. So that's like a fourth kind, but yeah, so they're similar in nature.
Have people been using those, and have we gotten feedback on how they're doing?
Yeah, they. So I've seen some good signs. They are being used. I would say it's still a bit of like an inorganic adoption of it. Like we still have to like elbow people into it. But what is positive is like Open Oakland just like instituted a new like project application process, and they pretty much just like copied the canvas. That's fine. Like do whatever you want to them. They're not copyrighted or anything. So definitely adapt them for your needs. And the feedback I've seen from the projects there that have done it is very positive. Like even people who have been in their group for like 3 years were like, man, this made me think about my project in a whole new way. And now like I'm actually thinking about like, you know, what our strategy should be. So I think so I would highly recommend it at like the project canvases as just like an opportunity for people to just like think about their project. And since I don't know if Liani's not on this one, but we did like kind of knock off the Open Austin Civic Tech canvas. That's kind of where we adapted it from. So shout out to Open Austin and Mateo and Liani and the crew there for their ideas.
Yeah, open source ideas are the best. So let's see, I think looking at the blue column, huge part of that is like tracking member management and engagement. I don't know if, since we've got about like 12 minutes left, Annie, do you want to take lead and talk about your tool with Google Sheets?
Yes, I can. So, hi everyone. Yep, my name is Annie. Thanks, Mike. I am a co-captain at Code for San Jose. I've been a co-captain for about 2.5 years, so quite a while. And by profession, I work as a software engineer, but I don't really do coding outside of work. I'm not really allowed to. So today, I want to show you this crazy spreadsheet that I made actually about 2 weekends ago. And so we're still in the processes of like using it, but I've used it thus far. So I think it adds a lot of value, at least in my workflow. Okay, so I did create or like document the processes of using the spreadsheet for my leadership team. So I figured I would show you that today. So the main areas are onboarding new members, tracking event attendance, tracking volunteer interactions, which is super important because we don't have paid Slack, and Slack is extremely expensive and completely unreasonable for nonprofits. So it's super important that we, track the messages and the interactions that we've had with volunteers so we don't have amnesia when we try to talk to them a month later. And the next area is tracking project team member status. Okay, so starting with onboarding new members. So basically a new member joins our Slack organization and we're using Zapier to notice when a new person joins, and then we send them a link to the Google form, which is, I call the new volunteer form. Essentially, it's a bunch of questions, which actually I don't really want to walk you through the end user flow because you can't just see all of the questions, and I want to be a little quicker. So I'm going to open the admin version. So yeah, we asked them for their email address, full name, Slack name, pronouns, a bunch of background information, GitHub username, how many events have you been to Code for San Jose, how did you hear about us, because this is something that we really want to focus on, how is our outreach doing on social media, and then profession, other things, what brought you to Code for San Jose, how you want to get involved, are you interested in leading a project, do you want to be on the leadership team, what skills do you want to contribute, what skills do you want to improve. We often get a lot of boot camp graduates or participants, and so I try to differentiate, okay, hey, they already know, front engineering, or hey, they want to learn more, just to get a better gauge of their skill set. And for engineers, we go into more about libraries, and then their availability and some fun things like LinkedIn, fun facts, what city are you from? If you graduated from a boot camp, which one? So we can connect you with other people that are code for San Jose from the same boot camp, and anything else you want to add. Okay, so they fill out that form and it automatically gets piped over to one of the sheets in this massive table, or per se. So all their responses get piped over to this table, and this enables me to easily look up, okay, I'm looking for a designer, and oh, Zoom is covering up my window. Hold on. Okay, I can't spell right. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, I'm looking for a designer, and I can check out, okay, these are my designers, you know, in my fleet per se. And from there, you know, I'll let project managers take it from there. The form also allows us to let a leadership team member know when someone has finished taking out the form, so then they can reach out to that new volunteer. I tried using Zapier for this, but the problem with this table that I have found is when I sort by name, which I like to do because it's easier to find people, the form, Google Forms, adds a new row to the top, and Zapier says, oh, there's a new row, and then keeps sending me the bottom row, which is currently Zach and Tonya, if you've ever met him. So it keeps telling me that Zachary has been added to our Slack when I know that the new person is at the top of the form. A little hiccup that I run into. Okay, so tracking event attendance. So we use Zoom. We use the CFA Zoom account to have hack nights, and from there you can go into Zoom and actually grab all of the attendees from a particular event. And so I would have actually what I just did for our hack night. So I would go into log volunteer attendance, and I would pick the date, and then I would literally copy and paste that entire list of attendees, not formatted whatsoever. So super low maintenance. And then that gets sent over to a different table here. This is our raw data. And I did some spreadsheet magic to mark which attendees attended each event. So this list on the left-hand side is actually imported from the base table, which is, you know, this list. So then we have that list of attendees on every single table when we want to look at them. Okay, so that's cool. Tracking volunteer interactions. Again, yeah, we're on the free Slack and our messages go away after like a month. So that sucks. And what I like to do is go in here and record a volunteer interaction, and I put the volunteer's full name, their Slack handle, my name, and then I literally copy and paste the conversation from Slack, not formatted whatsoever. I really don't care about formatting personally. I just want to get the content so I can see, hey, they need to step away from Code for San Jose for a month. I need to reach out in the month. The important information. And we're not doing this for all conversations, right? And we also want to be mindful of their privacy. So really just the important tidbits like, hey, I just graduated from a boot camp and I am newer to React, but I want to get involved. Or hey, I'm moving to Canada. Please don't message me in, you know, for 2 weeks. Small things like that. Okay, so the next part is tracking team member status. So this is really on our project leaders to mark when someone is active or inactive on a project. So here they would go to a different form and they would update if a volunteer is active on the project. They put their full name, they mark which project, and they say, are they active or not? And based on that information, I go over here to the project team. So the raw data is a lot less structured, but using some Google Sheets magic, I check if they have been marked active. And then you can see how many projects someone is active on, or you can try to figure out what your team members look like, or who are your team members. I took this idea based on the Hack for LA team roster. So I've noticed on a lot of Hack for LA projects, they have a team roster for every single project, and so they have separate Google Sheets for every project. So this is kind of a version of that, but unified across all projects. And I'm not following the chat, so I'm sorry if you ask me a question and I'm not answering it. Some other things that I've considered is using Airtable. So I'm newer to Airtable, and I tried it out, but I was not able to get this nice import of the entire, two columns across tables via Airtable. That was just one hurdle I ran into. If you have solutions for that, I would love to hear it. So yeah, this is what I built out for our team. I think it works thus far for us. Totally open to improvements, suggestions, and I can make a copy of this without our volunteers' data, so you can bring it to your brigade if you want. Please Slack me if you're interested. And I would love to hear more about how you guys are managing your volunteers. Okay, I'm all done.
Thanks, Annie. I think we're definitely going to put together a discourse post that has all the links to both the links we shared in chat, as well as this as the fun retro board, so you can keep track of everything. And yeah, there was discussion about getting a copy of the sheet, but without the names. So I think definitely people will find that very useful. So I think, yeah. Tom.
Before we end, I just want to that was awesome, Annie. That was really cool, and it's something I've been thinking about for a little while at CFA with regards to how do we what do we want to provide for CFA for brigades who are using our Zoom or other things like that. So if anyone is interested in adopting something like this for their brigade, I think I can probably learn a lot from how Annie has set that up, but I think also we can probably come up with a way to make that happen based off of Zoom data. I've been meaning to do another version of that and try to get some concept of active members. I think it's really interesting to see how you structured that. So if anyone's interested, reach out to me. We can set that up if you're using Code for America Zoom. If you're using other ways, then we can figure something out. But yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Any other comments from anyone else in the call?
Yeah, well, this is Bonnie, Hack for LA. You mentioned me in the, we were doing separate rosters for each team. We did that to protect people's email addresses because we didn't want everyone having access to everyone's email address across the entire organization. It still is not as secure as I would like. People sometimes accidentally or whatever on purpose make the sheet just visible to anybody who has the link instead of only people who've been added to the drive. That's problematic. I am also looking at Airtable mostly for an opportunity to consolidate because we keep adding new fields and it's frustrating when you have 25 rosters. But the problem with Airtable seems to be the cost in that you can make it look exactly like what you want. You can get exactly what you want out of it. But if you're going to have different editors, then you have to pay per editor per month. And that always is a no-go for brigades, monthly recurring costs.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize there was a per user cost. Interesting.
All right, well,
I mean, it would work for your system, Annie, since you're the only user editing it, and everyone else is using the forms. So it actually wouldn't impact you much.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you?
We got the message from Tom that we'll have to wrap up the session. But thank you everyone for attending, and we'll definitely put all of the links and the resources on that discourse post. All righty, thanks everyone.
Thanks, everyone.